Happy people. Happy people. I hope we're all doing good today. Yes, I do. Well, I want to bring you greetings, from the Let's Talk Truth Live. And I wanted to talk with you today in reference to why fixing the external does not fix the internal. And it seems to be a problematic with a lot of people that feel as though if I can dress it up, then I can hide and disguise what's going on inside the internal. So many people have been scarred with the wherewithal of whether they've been raped, whether they've been molested or beaten or mistreated, the insecurities of rejection, the insecurities of being, overlooked, not being valued in certain ways, not being affirmed in certain ways. And a lot of times we feel good about dressing it up as opposed to just being truthful with what's going on inside the internal. And so today we're going to dive into why it's so important to address the internal as opposed to focusing so much on the external. So I want you to repeat after me. You can only heal what you're willing to speak about. You can only heal what you're willing to speak about. And a lot of times we don't give the voice of the internal, the voice of the little child on the inside, the voice of the little person that was devastated on the inside. We don't give it a voice. We don't give it a voice to speak, but we hold it prisoner. We suppress it down. We dismiss it. We ignore it. We try to act like it's not a part of your history or your past, and we try to dress it up and try to disguise it so we can show to the world that everything is okay. How's that working for you? Yeah. Listen, I want you to leave your comments in the comment box. I want you to share with me, some of the things that you may be trying to hide or that you may be trying to dress up because you're afraid of exposing your wounds to a world that is not so forgiving or to a world that is uh, so judgmental in its way of looking down their nose at you, or they're just judgmental or on how you should be past that. And I'm telling you that you have nothing to be ashamed about. I'm telling you that you have nothing to fear about being transparent and exposing your truth. Now, is it something that you need to expose to everybody? Everybody can't handle things that have happened to you. Everyone can't handle you know how it affects you. So you have to use a spirit of discernment, if you will, or you have to even know who you can share certain things with, because everyone doesn't have the withal or the capability of carrying such precious cargo or carrying such sensitive things that have happened to people. I hear and I talk with people on a daily basis, and it's just so surprising to me when people don't really ask the why. And so I want you to know that if you don't ask the why, you will never know the what, the who, the when, and the how to move forward. It's important for you to discover that why. It's important for you to address it. And so, talking about addressing the internal, in today's society, you hear more people talking about getting life coaches, or getting counselors. I'm going to counseling to address those issues. And it's been such a taboo, especially in the church background. It's been a taboo in just the society, period, but especially in the church background, because we figure that if we pray about it, we shout our way through it, or if we, praise our way, that those things are going to poof go away. And oftentimes we have a lot of people that's dressed up, playing the part, but really are suffering on the inside, or that's going through devastation when they're home alone, listening to the voices or reliving the past. And it shows up sometimes without your permission. Did you know that? It does. Yes, it will show up without your permission. What do I mean by that? It will display itself without you even being aware of it. I've encountered people that let's just say that they're not transparent as far as in being truthful about just telling the truth about certain things, and they lie so much to where they even believe the lie that they're telling. And oftentimes when we lie, the last person that we try to, how do I want to say this? We try to lie in a way to where it will, you know, fool you, but the real person and the last person that's always fooled is the person that's doing the lying. Yep, 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 yep. It's just the truth. And so, one thing about a person that is not so transparent with themselves as well as others is that there's an old saying that my grandmother used to say is that your lies will find you out. And it's true. You can only go so far before it comes out through the rinse. Or you can only do so many washing, before it starts coming out through the rinse. And sometimes it'll come out without your permission. And so if you don't address these inward pains and these inward brokenness and these inward devastations of the past, then it will start showing up even through you trying to dress it up. People will put on makeup, they will put on weave, they will put on Gucci, they will wear Nike shoes, they will put on Jordans, they will dress it up to fool you and to fool others, but you still can't fool the one person that's dealing with it, and that's you. And so I want you to consider the fact of being transparent in a way that will allow you to speak what you want healed. Well, how do I speak what I want healed? I'm honest about where I'm at. I'm honest about what has happened to me. I'm honest about, how it affected me. I'm honest about what it's doing to me or to my wife or to my family members or to people or my friends or colleagues around me. I'm honest about it so then that way I can start getting the help that I need to be able to move past that trauma. Listen to me. I want to say that trauma is one thing that can be dealt with. It can be healed, but not speaking about it keeps you in a prison. And that trauma will get more devastating and more devastating until it gets almost like an iceberg and it pushes itself up. And then you start spewing venom on people that you didn't really want to spew that on. Consider that fact. And so, talking about this today is really a way to say you can expose the trauma with speaking your truth about it and how it affects you. And then you deal with the spirit of embarrassment. You know, well, the embarrassing part about that whole thing is that you are embarrassed to talk about it. That's the embarrassing part. Well, Jay, how do you say that? Because sometimes it's just a thing that I don't want everybody to know what I've gone through. I understand and I hear that. But the fact that you're trying to hide it from yourself, it may not be for everybody else to know about, but it may be something that you need to deal with. You need to face it. And sometimes facing those things is taking the next step of having a conversation, with someone that's capable, that's someone that is, in your corner to be able to handle those hardcore things and being able to trust the process of, I now need to get from here to there. Listen, I'm telling you, when we talk about going into a place of purpose, people, when we're talking about going to a place of called there, you know, if you don't deal with what's going on the inside, on this side, it will meet you when you get there. I said it, I'm going to say it again. When you don't deal with what's going on internally on this side of the fence, it will meet you when you get there. If I could put it in a more spiritual aspect, if you don't deal with those Amalekites on this side of the promise, those Amalekites will rise up to meet you in your promised land. Okay. It's just the hardcore truth. And so I see countless amount of people, and I'm not judging this. I'm just telling you what I deal with on a regular basis that are a public success, but a private failure. Countless, because they don't want to speak what about the wounds that they're dealing with. They'll rather dress it up and fool people. And how many people, just stop and think, how many people have you actually seen in the limelight or, that is a public figure, and then you find out that they've committed suicide, you find out that they've they're on drugs, they're finding ways to cope with this thing. And you said, I had no idea. Why? Because they've learned how to dress it up. They've learned how to wear the mask, in a way that fools you, but internally they're still in prison. It happens quite often, people. It happens quite often. And I'm opening up the conversation because this is a conversation that needs to be had. There is no shame. There is no shame in speaking what you want to heal. There is no shame of exposing your wounds to people that may have the methodology or the wherewithal to handle it. There is no shame in that. The shameful part is when we keep silent and we suffer by ourselves. The real truth. Dealing with the internal. And then so you wonder why, and I'm going to show you some clues too that you may not be aware of that exemplifies someone going through. And everybody got their own opinions, but I'm just going to tell you it is what it is. It's not going to change what I'm getting ready to say. You know, um, when you have a person that is always one of the things, it's a scientific fact, you can look it up. When you have a person that's always changing their hair, let's just say, 1 minute is long, next minute is short. Well, that's not true. I change my hair because I just like the different looks. Okay, okay. When you have a person that's always willing to focus on everybody else instead of focusing on themselves, there's another clue to it. When you have a person that is always in a place to where they're always having a negative attitude towards positive situations, something's going on. And there's so many more that we could expel and that we could talk about today. But those are some of the clues that we need to start looking for, not as a way of prying, but as in a way of a concern to say, tell me about that. Tell me what's going on with that. Tell me why that makes you feel this way. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't know how to handle it, then be open to discussing, having a conversation. Hey, I'm willing to go with you, to get a coach, a spiritual coach. I'm willing to go with you to get, some counseling and some help. Be open and be transparent enough to tell them your story and how you're working through it, because that will bring down walls where a person says, okay, you understand what I'm feeling. And I'm willing to, share some things with you too, and be open to the possibility of seeking out people that can give you a different outlook and a different perspective and how to get you free from the pathologies that continue to perpetuate in your life. Come on now. Come on. Who am I talking to? Listen, because I can promise you, you know someone, I know someone, you might have been that one. I've been that one before. I've been that one and still going through, my journey of being free from, rejection. Come on now. I'm just gonna can I put it out there? Come on. It's no failure and it's in me being truthful. I've been rejected by, my own family. I've been rejected by people that I felt as though, why don't you see me? Why don't you acknowledge, who I come on, I've been there. I've been there. I still have gone through there, but I'm not willing to suffer in silence anymore for anybody. And the difference is between, some people and myself, I will expose that thing quickly and be able to, yes, hold on. I'm live, sweetheart. I'm willing to expose that thing in a way that it can bring peace to what it is that I'm dealing with. Hmm? Come on now. Listen, listen, I'm being transparent. We're in my home. And so I have my office and my wife has her office. So sometimes I'm a little bit too loud. So that's what you just heard was my wife. So, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm willing to expose those things. Are you willing to expose the wounds that you are suffering in silence? One thing I love about, when we talk about Christ, he was a naked Christ before us. The whips and the scars was exposed for the world to see, but yet and still we try to camouflage ours. How you doing? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. Oh, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing well. When you know good and well you're crying at night, when you know good well that you're dealing with depression, you're having flashbacks of what he said about you or what he did to you, or come on now. Those real wounds that you are trying to hide and dress them up. How's it working for you? How's it working for you? And I'm not being facetious. I'm not being comical. I'm not trying. This is a real situation. How's it working for you? Because if it's still keeping you in those same perpetual cycles that you've been dealing with since you was 3, tell me it's not working well for you. And it's time to change the narrative. It's trying to get to a place, and then what we do is we'll try to protect our abusers. Make that make sense. Yeah. Make it make sense. Yeah. Protect them while you suffer. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And so uh it's not for me to get, but I'm willing to step in the ring with you. I'm willing to get in the dirt with you and say, let's make this make sense so you can get yourself to a place of freedom. Why do you suffer in silence when that other person has gone on? Not fair. Do you not know there's graves of people, millions of graves that are holding on to people's pains when they've gone on and you still holding on to the same pain? I've had, come on, let me be transparent with you. I'm almost running out of time, but I've had several situations, just recent ones, that I had to choose to hold on to it or let it go. And we've been talking about that. I did a 4-part series of letting it go because it's time to let things go. When you hold on to the pains of the past, there's no future in the pains of the past. There's no future. You got to let it go. You got to be willing to shed it off. And you got to be willing to say, you know what? I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to hit it straight on. I'm going to hit it straight on. I'm going to give that little voice of that little girl, that little voice of a little boy. I'm going to give it a voice. I'm going to speak to that thing. I'm going to give that little boy, that little girl a voice to speak about it and get free and clear so I can be clear about my purpose. And oftentimes, the shame that the enemy tries to keep us to hold on to is the voice that's going to help deliver somebody else. Come on. I know what I'm saying to be the truth. Oftentimes, the shame that the enemy tries to keep you bound by is the voice that's going to give somebody else a deliverance. Hmm? Come on, don't suffer in silence. Don't sit in silence. Listen, why will we allow ourselves to walk through a humility or a place of shame? It is your story. And just because you're humiliated by it or just because you're shamed about it does not mean that your story is going to go away. What it does mean is that that little girl, that little boy is going to continue to suffer in silence until you give that pain, until you give that sorrow, until you give that little girl or little boy a voice to speak. And I'm going to say it again, you can only heal what you're willing to speak. Okay. I am out of time. I'm out of time. But if you would like to discover how to give that internal pain, how to give that internal little girl or that internal little boy a voice, and you just don't know how to do it, we want to offer Let's Talk Truth, with Jay. Listen, you can go to my website, www.IamJLStone. Click the casting button. Yes, we do it live. We can do it where it's just a one-on-one, where there's no one seen. But we would like to do it live because I guarantee you your story is going to help deliver somebody else. You can click the casting button. You can tell us your story and let us know what it is that you're stuck in. Let us know what it is that you're dealing with. I promise you, we're going to get you free where you can get free and stay free. We're going to give you the tools that you need, whether we come to you. Yes, we can come to you, or you can come to us. We have a beautiful home where we do, we call it our safe house, where we do 3 days of intense coaching and give you the tools that you need to survive and move forward. And we have a workbook that we deal with you. It's a workbook that I designed. And you can get these workbooks without even getting, the coaching. But the coaching is so necessary to help you understand this book. But you can get them, and you can get them on www.imjlstone, and you can click the cast the button and write us and tell us your story. One of my team members or one of our coaches is going to get back with you. One of the producers may get back with you and say, hey, it's your story that we want to be able to walk with you through this journey of getting you free. And we may want to share this with other people so they can get free and stay free as well. Come on, because your testimony of freedom is going to give somebody else a deliverance. Come on. So you might as well just go ahead and click that button. Click the button, you know, go ahead and email us or go on my website and let's talk about it. And listen, if there we have other tools like Fogware for Men, come on, to remind you, these are great stocking stuffers. Favor of God. I got them in several different colors. They're very, very inexpensive, but they're very, very durable. This one has been washed. You wouldn't even ever know it, but it has been washed because I've worn it. It's been washed. They don't shrink. Very good material. I have also, come on, women. I am fearfully, wonderfully made. And this can be from a man too, if you don't know, but come on, they're unisex. I'm fearfully, wonderfully made. I got them in different colors. And it will be a great tool to remind you when you look at yourself in the mirror or to remind somebody else that's looking at you. Come on. And they're very inexpensive. We can get them out there to you before Christmas. Yes, we can. And, just share with people the tools that we're giving with you with Let's Talk Truth. Listen, I'm out of time, but I promise you I have the book, but I don't even know what that book is over there. I'm sorry. I have to get the book to you next time. But men, or women, if you're dealing with a man that just doesn't know how to express themselves, but you're seeing some things about him where he's getting stuck at, I have a book for you. It's called The Power to Build a Man. It's a very easy read, very easy tool for you women, and it's basically just confirming what you already know about what you're discerning about the man that you're with or that you're discovering or that you want to even think about being with. Listen, all sorts of tools. We're here to help. We're here to do it in purpose, on purpose, with all power. So until next week, I'm JL Stone. Let's talk truth and let's keep it in the place of truth. Okay? See you next week.